were both admissions counselor. We were both admissions counselors. So we worked at two different universities, recruiting for respective universities. We were at a college fair in the Bronx,
Cardinal
right?
Spellman. That's
I did not. This is where I think divine intervention happened.
just God, especially on a Palm Sunday or Palm Sunday, Good Friday, getting ready for after Palm Sunday. This would be Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
I did not have the Bronx as my territory. So if for those of you who are not in the world of admissions, an admissions counselor typically has a territory that they recruit in. He had the Bronx. I did not. I was actually filling in for a friend that I worked with, and I did not want to go to the Bronx. Now, I'm from, if anybody is from the Bronx and I say I'm from Harlem, you already know there's like that healthy competition. But I didn't have it, right? So I went to this fair, wasn't supposed to be there. I see this guy. I went to school in Western New York, so upstate New York, and I was like, oh, the school that he worked at. I was like, oh, I know that school. I had some good times at that school, y'all.
Wait, what?
What the heck? So I was like, oh, let me go up to the table, right? I really wasn't paying any attention to him. It was really the school.
Well,
but I was like,
you for that.
But
she her eyes wasn't working. She didn't see this. Go ahead, the Zeus-like character.
Oh God. So I was like, oh, but the other thing that I did pay attention to with him was he did look new, like stuff all over the table. Like, at that time I was a seasoned admissions counselor. So then I walked up to him and then he started telling me about the university. And as the fair went on, from my perspective, I was like, a major that we may not have had. Oh, this university has that. What would you say the rest of the fair was like for you?
It was busy for us. I got a lot of work in that day.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of kids from the Bronx want to go up that far.
Nah, I would say not really. It was busy because I was standing on the side of the table. You're supposed to stand behind the table. Yeah, I definitely was on the side of the table. Like, hey, just talk to me. What are you interested in? And they're like, Buffalo. I don't even know. That's basically Canada. That's basically another country. I'm like, just tell me what you're interested in. So that fair really helped me craft how I talk to families and talk to students to try and get them to say, all right, I don't want to go to Buffalo and coming off the Bronx, but let me tell you about engineering and why. What do you want to end up doing, or music is your bad guys, whatever it is. That we have one of the best programs in the entire state, and us being the flagship. Folks didn't really know that, so it turned to a really good educational piece where even I learned a lot. Where people asked me about like actuary science, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know what that actually is. Let me have to Google that." And so that fair was really really busy. And then I know I wanted to connect with you at the end,
but we didn't
because the OGs was like, "Yo, let's go watch the football game." And now I know it was a Thursday night, and I'm like, shoot, I really want to connect with her. But again, she didn't even see me. So now I'm thinking about it now. Shoot, I'm glad I didn't go. Shoot, she acted like she wouldn't even know who I was. She was like, oh, it's just some dude from University of Buffalo. So yeah, I went with the OGs and they put me on game. We had a good time, but I still made it to my 8 a.m. visit on that Friday.
I would also say why we
thank you, Lord. Go ahead.
Why we didn't care about connecting is because I was in another relationship, and so were you. So it was like I wasn't checking for him, and yeah, he might have thought I was attractive, but he wasn't checking for me either. So we were in
definitely checking for her on the way out. But just
don't tell you know.
But it was different though at that, because my girlfriend and I, she did not like all the travel already. We knew it wasn't gonna work.
Yeah. And I was well into, at that point I had been in the relationship that I was in for like 11 years.
Oh my God.
Okay. So then how did we end up here? So I ended up leaving that job to go to law school in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Sorry, this happens to me. What was I saying?
You were talking about going. You need to know your children.
Oh, yeah. My mom.
Just so y'all know, listening is different than hearing.
Yes.
Just so y'all know.
So, long story short, I ended up going after a job at a charter district in Harlem where I could be the senior guidance counselor, and I ended up getting that job. So grateful for that organization. Like, absolutely love them. And all of my students, I had 30 kids at that time. Shout out to my first group of 30. And they were all like, we want to stay in New York, but we want to go far. Like, and I was like, yo, I remember knowing someone. This was now 2017. So 2 years later, hadn't heard anything from each other in 2 years, and was like, yo, I'm going to reach out to him because, I wonder if he's still the person there. So I Googled the university, admissions counselors at this university. and he popped up.
You stalked me like that?
A little bit,
What
yep.
in the world?
And he came to the school.
Just like that.
Came
Yep.
to the school.
It was, yeah. My territory had continued to be the Bronx, and then it moved to Harlem on down to like 50, like basically Hell's Kitchen areas, like 55th, Columbus Circle, that area. And so, yeah, HCZ was definitely a part of the your school was definitely a part of my territory. So he reached out. I'm like, yeah, I'm down to serve the kids. And to be honest, I was like, wait a minute, I know this name, but I don't really know this name. What is happening? But I'm like, okay, let's show up. And then I was like, hold on, you the one who I'm here to see? Hey, hold on, man. And I'm single at this time now, single, enjoying life, and I'm like, I do know you, man. You fine, baby, you fine. And then, yeah, then I was doing stuff. I was only supposed to be there like an hour in one instance, and then there for like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, but you had some really talented kids, so it was dope to connect with
Yeah.
them.
So he's at my school, and now that I'm on the high school side and he's on the college side, we now have a mutual interest, and so we just continue to keep in touch over the years. And I would say that whole year we kept in touch. He would come back and forth to the school for the kids that were interested, and then he coined this phrase. You know what phrase I'm gonna say? You would always say this to me.
You were a superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
And
Because the way that you were responding, the information I was looking for, most of the time you gave me the information I was looking for, plus some like looking around corners about these kids, and I'm like, ooh, that is a good question that I probably would have asked a month from now, but thank you for answering it now.
thorough,
And so,
baby.
yeah, very,
Thorough.
very, very thorough. So it was.
I'm not single at this point. I'm in a new relationship, but I was not single at this point.
Mhm.
And
I was single.
he was single. But that relationship was ending throughout the 27, almost 2018 year. And I just wanted to be by myself. So he had, I guess, mustered. No, you don't need to muster up courage. He was who he was, and he asked me, like, do I want to go out? And I just would always say no, because not because I was trying to be mean, but because
She likes saying no. You'll learn that from her. She likes saying no.
maybe a little bit. But I also was just like, I just want to be, I didn't want to be with anything. And if we're being
Yeah,
really
that's a
honest,
11 years, another relationship back to back. That's wild.
well, there was some
Because we're
time
like
in between.
24.
There was some time in between that relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you out here thinking I'm just going from relationship to
Nah,
relationship.
she is she. Some folks I realize there's like 6 different types of people. My beautiful wife, she is that committed type of
I
person.
am
She
very committed, very habitual.
like that is, and like I can do this once I accomplish it, I'm on to the next thing, keeping it moving. But yeah, just like you remind me of one of my homies from home, man. He's a firefighter. Shout out to my man C Harris. So very committed
um.
to.
So yeah,
So
move
she
it
likes to
all.
say no.
I like to say, well,
Or
I know
she
I don't
does
like to
say
say
no. Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Fast forward, we're both now single. I'm at a new school within the same district, and one of my best friends, shout out to CB.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends was like, "Yo, the next time that cat comes through, what would happen if you said yes?" And I was
About
like,
me trying to ask her out on a date somewhere.
"Yeah." I was like, "I don't know." So he asked me again.
Thank you, Cord. Yep. Just leave it at that. Corey.
And I
Thank you,
said
Corey.
yes.
That's all. And I was like,
Woo!
finally. She said, yeah. I'm gonna keep shooting my shot. Shout out Kobe Bean, Brian, Black Mama. Rest in power to all of those in that helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Kobe and Gianna.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kept shooting my shot. She said, yeah. And I said, what? She actually said, yeah. So I said, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure I got some clean underwear, man. Because it was at the end of my trip. Usually I stayed for a week and came back, but I was gonna stay the week. And I'm like, let me make sure I packed enough. And I did. And so I can remember wearing a flannel shirt,
Yep.
going to Melba's.
You had on some, like, not jeans, but like some khaki kind of pants.
Yep.
Some like
I was wearing
boat shoes.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I had my little preppy boy look on that
Yeah.
one.
What did I have on?
Let me tell you where we sat first. We went right.
Well, where did we go?
I just said Melba's. You wasn't even listening.
No, you what? You didn't say that.
Hey, check the tape. I said Melba's already. We went into this place in Harlem called Melba's.
Shout
The
out to
best.
Melba. If you've never been, I
You
don't care
gotta
where you
go.
live in the country. If you live in the South,
We're gonna
if
put that in the link.
I'm gonna put that in the chat. Shout out to Melba's on 114th and 8th Avenue. You got to go to Melba's. The best Southern comfort food ever.
Yeah. Even being here in Louisiana, we could use the Melba's. Like
Hmm
it's on it like that.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we
we went
sat
to
in the
Melba's.
corner. So we walked in, and when you walk in, we sat all the way to the right corner. I can remember exactly where it was. Beautiful table, just a regular table. It was beautiful just to chop it up with her. And I
Hmm
knew like 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, like, oh, she the real deal. She's great at her job. I love how she loves her kids. And we got a lot in common on what we're looking for, what we want out of life. And we want partnership, and we do want kids. And like, and we want to both have a career that's like, okay, I think we got something here.
Okay.